Welcome to the Board of Education meeting on the first day of school. Today is Tuesday, September 3. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Ross, will you please call the roll?
Mr. LeGrand.
Here.
Mr. Matthias.
Here.
Mr. Moody.
Here.
Mr. O'Connor.
Here.
Ms. Randalls.
Present.
Mr. Ross. Ms. Slade.
Here.
President Fogg.
Here.
Mr. Baker.
Here.
Accounted for.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Support?
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Celebrations.
We have several celebrations tonight. I'd like to call Ron Gorman up for the first one.
Okay, good evening. Madam President, Superintendent Weatherall Neal, honorable board members, happy first day of school. It's great to be back. It is an honor to introduce to you this evening Mr. Ray Tellman. He is the Executive Director of Middle Cities Education Association. If you are not familiar with Middle Cities Education Association, just let me give you a little snapshot very quickly. Middle Cities Education Association is a consortium of urban school districts which was formed out of a shared commitment to improving educational opportunities for urban learners. The unique mission and emphasis of Middle Cities is to serve as an advocate for member districts to ensure quality educational programming for all urban learners. Before Mr. Tellman presents this evening, I'd like to share with you a few celebrations at the high school division. As you know, the state of Michigan released its top-to-bottom list, and there are some improvements that I would like to share with you. Central HST last year had a 13% improvement on the state's top-to-bottom list. Creston High School had a 10% improvement on the state's top-to-bottom list. Union High School, which was on the lowest 5% list, which was a school that was in jeopardy of being taken over by the Educational Achievement Authority, went up 8 percentage points and is no longer on the state's lowest 5% list. In addition, we have Grand Rapids Montessori, which made a 2-point improvement, and Grand Rapids University Prep Academy, which had a 1-point improvement, and then City High School continues to be in the 99th percentile of all the high schools, or all the schools in the state of Michigan. In addition to those wonderful celebrations, this evening, Mr. Tellman, the Executive Director of Middle Cities, also has some wonderful information to share with you as well. Mr. Tellman?
Thank you, Ron. Madam Chair, members of the board, Superintendent Neal, it is my pleasure to present to Union High School today on behalf of Middle Cities Education Association the 2013, I'm going to take a breath before I give you the name of this award, Dr. Robert and Patricia Muth Excellence in Leadership Award. Let's just call it the Muth Award from now on out, okay? And this would be the time that I should probably give you some insight into the process by which this award was given. But in putting this information together, I came upon a number of facts that involved Grand Rapids Public Schools, Middle Cities Education Association, Dr. Muth, Union High School, and they're just 6 quick factoids, if I could share them with you. I think you'll find them interesting. So, as Ron pointed out, we've been in existence for urban learners and urban school districts for about 40 years. Grand Rapids was a charter member of the Middle Cities Education Association. The first executive director of Middle Cities Education Association was Dr. Robert Muth, Bob Muth. What you may or you may not know is his last job within a school district before he came to Middle Cities Education Association was the Assistant Superintendent of Finance for Grand Rapids Public Schools. And at the time that he was in charge of finance here is when Union High School was built. And so in getting this information together, I called his son, John Muth, who you may know. He's in a law firm, Miller Johnson, here in town, and he said, "Oh, yeah, my dad had a heck of a time with Union High School." I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah." Well, it wasn't a conversation, it was emails, but it was kind of like that. And he said that amongst the things that happened with Union High School was the contractor built it in the wrong spot. And not just in the wrong spot by a little bit, but by so much that it had to be regraded and quite a kind of retrofit to the original plans. But that in the final evaluation, Bob Muth worked with and for Union High School, and the contractor did the right thing. And I think if Bob Muth was here today, in the same vein, he'd probably say of Union High School in terms of its students, they are doing the right thing as well. So with that, a piece of factoid, and I know when I did this, I said, I'll never be able to share that kind of information again with anybody, so there it is. So the process itself, it was instituted when Bob Muth left in 1989. So for this quarter century, this award has been given 50 times. And as can be attested by Union High School, this is a process, an application process that's comprehensive and demanding. The process is tough. We secure the services of outside experts in school improvement to serve as our readers. And when we have them come in, because we don't judge from the inside, we bring folks in from the outside, we say, you create a threshold of excellence in terms of school improvement and student achievement. We say to our readers, our experts, they are not requested or required to designate an awardee in any year. So it's with great honor that we're here to award Grand Rapids Union High School as a sole recipient this year. So here's what our panels of experts said, and I'm just going to clip a couple things. They said that Union High School has a focused, data-driven approach to improve student learning. It uses instructional rounds, which provided team feedback to teachers and follow-up support. And it was a very highly effective use of the special school improvement grant funding that they had and utilized quite well, as Ron just noted. From the press release that we put out, just a sentence or two, the Grand Rapids community is a leader in education in Michigan. The team at Union High School impressed our school improvement specialists with their collaboration with parents and their use of data to drive decision-making at the school. Middle Cities hopes that these promising leading indicators are just the beginning of good news to come from Union High School and its students in years to come. So with that, we've done a few other media-type things on our website and such, but I have at least two other presentations, awards, and if I could have the principal and the vice principal come up, and I could perhaps share with them a handsome plaque that hopefully will go with all the rest of their achievements that says the Robert and Patricia Muth Excellence in Leadership Award presented to Union High School and Grand Rapids Public Schools by Middle Cities Education 2013.
Good job.
One other thing before I turn it over to Mr. Nelson and Ms. Mott, a check for $1,500 to Mr. Nelson and Grand Rapids and the high school. This is unencumbered for the purposes and the roads that they're going down now to do even a more outstanding job. Congratulations.
Nice job.
I was going to say a few words.
Thank you.
You know, this award is definitely a tribute to our teachers and our students. They did such a wonderful job over the course of the year. Being in the position that I was in last year, I had an opportunity to see a lot of things happen with the SIG grant, with education, with our learning walks, our classrooms, and this is so much a tribute to our kids and our teachers. And it's also a tribute to the wonderful job that Jessica and Laura DeVos and their documentation of all the things that we did over the course of last year. So I definitely, the credit goes to them. It's just been a wonderful process to go through, and I'm very blessed to be a part of that. Jessica, anything that you want to add?
I would just add that when we came in and seeing this award, the grant application and reading it over, and speaking with our leadership coach, Lauren DeVos, it was, we're doing all this already. We need to showcase it, and we need to take everything that our leadership team is doing, and we need to apply for this. We have an excellent set of teachers at our school. They are great leaders. They take it upon themselves to do the right thing. And really, it was just a biography of what I saw at Union last year.
And as far as this year is concerned, we had a wonderful week with our staff last week, going through a program capturing kids' hearts for 3 days. And then had a wonderful morning with our staff just to make sure all the operational needs were taken care of. Today, I heard a lot of wonderful things, and one of the best things that I heard today was our kids are really polite. And I love that. I love the fact that their patience and their cooperation and getting into the classrooms and taking care of what they need to on a first day, because it's usually and so I'm enthused and excited about this coming school year, and I think we're on the right track. So thank you.
Congratulations.
My next celebration is Stuff the Bus, and John Himholt will come up.
Superintendent Neal, Madam President, members of the board, I want to invite friend Scott Stenstrom from Fifth Third and Michelle Sahosky from Student Advancement Foundation for us to join in a celebration of the Stuff the Bus program that is sponsored by, among others, Amway, Fifth Third, Meyer, Craig's Cruisers, Cintas, Dean Transportation, and even Miranda from Wood TV8 was the media sponsor. They helped organize an initiative that not only benefited GRPS, but a number of other school districts, with more than 2,000 of our students at the middle school level receiving fully stuffed backpacks with not only school supplies, but other essentials, soap, socks, and other supplies. In fact, that was the campaign name this year, was Soap, Socks, and Supplies, and it's one we want to just invite our partners down to say thank you, to celebrate, and really to allow them to share a few words as to what it means for them and their organizations as well. So, Scott, if I can turn it over to you first.
You bet. Thank you very much. Good evening. From a couple of different perspectives. From the Fifth Third Bank perspective, we believe strongly in education. And when we first started to get involved in this particular program, you couldn't help but realize that there was a tremendous need here, and to help the kids at this age specifically was something that we really looked forward to. One of the things is that along the education, I guess, standpoint of the whole thing, but we believe strongly that every kid should have the right tools to at least start off on the right foot, and hopefully they all had a great first day at school today. From the employee perspective, from Stuff the Bus, the response from our employees has been tremendous. They truly enjoy doing this for the community and for the kids, and they couldn't wait to get the stuff to the place where we stuff the backpacks. Though the supply is getting a little larger than it was 4 years ago, hopefully we hope it fits a need, and it helps the kids get off on the right foot for the school year. So thanks for having us tonight.
Thank you.
On behalf of SAF, what do you get when you put 8 companies together who want to make a difference, and you see it with Stuff the Bus? I mean, such a privilege for the Student Advancement Foundation to work with and help make this process happen. And we also want to thank all of the sponsors, and including the ones that John mentioned. I'll also mention that MLive and Town Square Media were also media partners on that. And the countless hours it takes to coordinate this, organize it, stuff all of those backpacks, not to be discounted, really is a sign of a community that believes in every single student. And so we thank all of the sponsors and wanted to let you know what a great job they've done this year. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Very much. If I can, I'm going to ask John John Himholt. We have one more that I would like for John to share. We just had a great thing happen today, and I really think that it is, we need to share this with everyone so that they know what our student did. And I also have an article, so here, our very own Mark Frost is in the Business Journal.
All right.
Nice article, Mark, good job.
That's right.
But we had a special thing happen today.
Yeah,
for John to
on the
share.
Business Journal, they do a feature on individuals once a week, but it's a prominent, basically two-page spread, and this one focused on Innovation Central High and our own Mark Frost. It's a great article, and congratulations to Mark and everything that they're doing over at Innovation Central. It just so happens there was another story today, and I would like to invite Paul Neidham from our operations to come up, Operation Ground Supervisor, and the Central Innovation student, Michael Hambrick. Please come on up. This was one that Paul shared in email early on in the morning that just touched the hearts of a lot of us and said this really is symbolic of this great start of school and some of the things that are happening and our remarkable students and the remarkable work of our grounds. I mean, they have been hustling all summer long. And so for Paul to be the one out actually doing this work, I'll let him tell the story, but it's very symbolic and just wanted to celebrate it.
Thank you. Good evening to everybody.
Good evening.
Little did I know this email would result in me. This morning I was up at Central very early.
Very early.
I saw you, Superintendent, and just checking on things, making sure the school was ready. And one of the things I'd been asked to do is make sure all our schools had outside flags flying for the opening day of school. I delivered a brand-new flag up there to Central this morning. I walked outside, went to hang the thing, and realized I have a 5-foot by 8-foot flag in my hands, all folded neatly, brand new. How am I going to do this by myself? And I'm standing there getting ready to call on my radio for help, and all of a sudden I hear, "You need any help? You need any help?" And out of the shadows, because understand, this is 6:30, 7 o'clock this morning, it was still twilight. Here comes Michael. I said, "Yeah, can you take a few minutes to help me out?" Sure, I'll help you. So he held one end of the flag, I held the other end of the flag. We lowered the rope down, brought it all the way to the bottom, went to reach for the top clasp. It crumbled in my hand, it broke right in my hand, and I'm going, oh no. I understand, at the same time, there's news media folks all lined up. And I'm thinking, oh gee, I hope they don't shoot pictures of us raising the flag here or something. But nonetheless, there I stood with that. I looked at Michael and I said, we're gonna have to go find a new one. So he and I went inside the building, we talked to another ops staff, received another clasp, went back outside, went to install it, and Michael says, oh, I'm familiar with this, I do this all the time. Let me take it. So I handed him the clasp, and he went to put it on the rope and realized the clasp was too small. The rope would not fit inside the hole of that clasp. I says, oh man, what are we gonna do now, Michael? He says, I know what to do. Hang on just a minute. He reaches into his backpack, and he comes out with a split ring out of his backpack, at least this big. He said, I've done this before, I know what to do. He attached it to that clasp, put the rope through it, threaded it through. He said, what do you think, will that hold? And I says, that looks great. And we attached the flag, and up the pole it went. And I stood there holding the end of the flag, and Michael raised that thing up there, just as nice as could be, professional as can be. And we attached it, stood there and admired old Gloria. She flew up there. And I said, Michael, how did you know how to do all this? And then he told me that you were involved in the Young Marines program. Yes. And what is involved in that? I mean,
Push this over there.
Well, the Young Marines is a youth organization for children 8 through 18. It was begun by the Marine Corps League. Now, their original focus was to help impact America's youth, but recently the Office of National Drug Control Policy, they have recognized us as their main efforts for drug resistance in the youth.
Wow.
I've been in this program 4 years. This will be my 5th year this year.
Yeah, very good. And obviously, you've raised a few flags in the process.
Yes, I have.
Well, I'm very thankful for Michael's help, his initiative, his resourcefulness in fixing that thing. I just kind of stood back and let him run with it, and he knew what to do, and I just want you to know how much I appreciate it. And that's why I wanted to make sure Mark knew about it. He was out there greeting students in the wee hours of the morning, and so I went by and said, I'm going to send you an email. I have this incredible kid I've got to tell you about. So that's my story.
Thank you very much.
Great story.
Thank you for that.
We need to find some student representatives. So
We have one.
do we?
We do.
Maybe Michael Hambrick.
Yes.
Good. Fantastic.
We'll look in the
we'll look
minutes.
forward to meeting
We
her.
have one.
Okay.
Ooh, Michael.
We have
Do
one.
we have any public comment on agenda items? No? All
Non-agenda.
right. Mr. Ross, Secretary's report.
I just want to make a motion to nominate Michael Hambrick for the a student representative. But no.
All right. Superintendent's
I
report.
do. We have a lot to celebrate today. In this report, though, I would like to thank Fred Finn and his team. They literally moved every program in the past 2 months, worked every weekend, plus long hours, and prepared us for the opening day of school. And Fred is probably going to kill me for this, because if you know Fred, he doesn't like any recognition. But you know what? Truly, it was remarkable what Fred and his team pulled off with the help of Ken. But literally, Fred, we do thank you, because it looked great across the district today. So, you know what? I do tip my hat.
Just take a minute.
You please, Fred. You've earned more than a minute, sir.
I just want to say, yes, my staff worked hard, but actually there should probably be about 200 people sitting behind me right now to be recognized. My own staff, operations, grounds, our contractors who did this. There was a lot of people involved. We moved close to 20,000 boxes. I don't know how many pieces of furniture. And we still got some details to work out. We'll still get those over the next couple of weeks. But yes, a lot of hours, but a lot of help, even from Larry's yellow shirt people who did things that we didn't have to spend our time doing. So just a big effort district-wide, teachers, principals, everybody combined. So it wasn't me, but there were a lot of people involved. It was a lot of hard work, a lot of long hours, but hopefully things will get ironed out, the details in the next couple of weeks, and we can move forward as a district and make this transformation process work the way it should be.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Fred.
you.
Thank you for that. And then I just have a couple other things to report. First, I do want to thank all of you, the board members, for believing in this transformation plan. You guys, if you could have seen it in action today, it was just enough to give you chills. We had about 95% compliance on the uniforms. Thank you to the parents, to the students and staff members, community members for helping. That was great. There was teaching going on today. We said bell to bell. We went in about 32 schools today, and everyone was working for the good of the whole. So that's just really amazing. Our enrollment, students were there today. We need to get more of our information into TR and Power School. We're working on that. And so just to give you just a brief update that will continue. Every day we meet at 4 o'clock to update our numbers. So it was great today.
Great, thank you. Like those reports. Action items, we have the purchasing agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the purchase?
So moved.
Support. Support.
Any questions or comments
Yes.
regarding that?
President Fall. Yeah, I'd like to just get some information about the renewal of the 300 E2020 licenses, and just I think it would be good to have a sense of how E2020 is used now, and what our purposes is.
No problem. So last year, there were about double the E2020 licenses in the school district. And I believe I sat here and Superintendent Weatherall Neal said that we need to cut back on the environments where we have exclusively online learning. One of those environments was Southeast Career Pathways. Last year at Southeast Career Pathways, every single student worked exclusively online, not only during the day, but after the school day. What we did there this year is we have 4 sections at Southeast Career Pathways. We have 3 sections of traditionally taught classes where they use technology to support their instruction. And then within the school day at Southeast Career Pathways, we have 1 lab where that students can recover classes throughout the day. So we went from 4 classes at Southeast Career Pathways that were exclusively online to 1 class that is exclusively online. We also have some online learning opportunities after school at Southeast Career Pathways, where we have a teacher work for a stipend after school, one of our 4 staff members, to help kids recover classes. Last year in our comprehensive high schools, we offered at least 1 line of E2020 in all of the high schools. And when I say 1 line, I mean that a teacher in the building does nothing but teach exclusively online all day. We do not have that this year. We wanted to make sure that we had more core-specific teachers. In the past, we would have a lab where students could work on English, math, social studies, and science, but may only have a mathematics content expert in the classroom, which we felt was not conducive to learning. So we scaled back considerably. I believe we went from 600 to 300. And we still have online learning opportunities for credit recovery in the comprehensive high schools, but those will take place after the school day.
Okay.
So we needed many fewer licenses than in previous school years.
Okay.
Anything else?
It's good to know. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Yep.
I like that thing.
Any further comments or questions?
Yeah, I do have just a little something about the building sites, increases on a few contracts. Now, I guess I'm sure there's probably a variety of reasons on why, but I noticed on one of them is almost twice as much. So I guess I'm just thinking in regards to our initiative to make sure that, I guess, local businesses are sort of getting a fair shake. And I'm not sure if these particular businesses here, if it was awarded to someone local or not. But I guess I'm concerned possibly about the integrity of the process, I guess. Because I know many times, and I know particularly in contract work things happen, but in many times we've sort of had an increase come later after something was awarded. So I guess I'm just trying to figure out how do we make sure as a district that that future contract things are really being awarded to the appropriate firm in the onset, as opposed to, and I don't mean to question the integrity of these firms, but just kind of the processing piece is a general question.
So with that, I'm going to ask Ken and Julie to come up front. And then Raynard, if you can be specific, probably if there's 1 or 2 or more vendors that you would like for us to.
Original contract was $21,000, and now it's being asked to increase to $41,000. I guess Dave Cole Decorators is the contract.
The painting that's before you, painting is something, we have 4 painters on staff, or have 4 painting positions. We had 2 retire this summer. We filled 1. We cannot just paint under our warm, safe, and dry dollars. It's not eligible. If we do remodeling, we can include painting. So trying to get buildings in shape, we were struggling with our own painting staff to keep up. So we did take bids from, I think we received 7, and it was strictly on an hourly basis. The first contract awarded was within the amount that staff can authorize. What we're coming to you now is an increase, because there's still some things that we would like them to do to get the buildings fully ready to go. This is strictly an hourly rate contract. It can be up to the $20,000. It is at my department's discretion, and we can stop them at any point. It is basically, we tell them, we need you to do this work in this building, and when they're done with that, we decide if there's more to do or not. It wasn't a total project bid, it was based on hourly rates only. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, well, I figured there was probably, again, some general sensibilities for that, as well as the next one with Jay Stevens. I'm sure the particulars are, sensible. I guess I was thinking more in a broader scope as far as, and I'm not exactly, obviously I'm not a local businessman per se, but I am big on trying to ensure that local folks get a fair shake, for lack of a better word. And maybe I'm a conspiracy theorist and often think that for the sake of business, people may not always be as above board as they could be. This is not particularly in regards to Dave Cole or Jay Stevens or anyone. But as I looked at this, and of course it just got my attention almost twice as much for one, but again, on our behalf, I figured there was an explanation. But I'm just wondering, how do we, since a lot of these come up where there's an increase in a previous estimate or previous contract, how do we ensure that folks aren't manipulating our system and offering a low bid early on? And because again, it just seems like this happens a lot, and it may be a peculiar question, but that's where my mind was.
Well, the painting contract was strictly an hourly rate, and we gave no indication it would go beyond the original amount when we bid that out. We did not do a public advertisement. What we did was we contacted all the painters we have had on jobs before or that had shown interest in working for us, and sent them a invitation to bid. Dave Cole is from Sparta. He is not local, but he was significantly lower at an hourly rate than the others. On the roofing job, we had bid union roof in sections, knowing we didn't have money to do it all. And after the initial bid, another section went from a repair to a replacement. It deteriorated to the point that repair was going to be about $18,000, and we'd still have an older roof, and it needed to be replaced. On that case, since they were on the job, we asked for quotes and just verified that it was within the reason based on the other pricing they had given to us. Back when we did the original bid, we did publicly bid that one, and Stevens was the low bidder.
Okay, well, I guess let me apologize to some degree, because I actually did make an attempt to look at the Finance Committee meeting, because, to see if any of this was discussed there, but we didn't happen to have it, so, But okay, like I said, just the greater piece was more our processing in general for contracts.
President
I guess
Paul.
I wanted to ensure that we were adherent to.
Madam President?
Yeah.
Dr. Baker has a question.
I actually just wanted to, it might not be bad to have, I was wondering if John could just review, there is a specific policy on the way local bids are, there's a benefit.
Let Mr. LeGrand ask his question first.
Oh,
Honestly, I'm not understanding why we're having this discussion. If we've got a line item and we want to know why the overrun in cost happens, I think that's an appropriate question to ask, and I think we got answers. If we want to talk about our local bid policy, we can talk about our local bid policy, but those are two completely different discussions, and I do not understand why we're getting into questions of conspiracy and integrity. I mean, we've got a couple line items on a budget, and we got explanations for why we're paying more money. It's because they're doing more work. I think we're done with our discussion. honestly.
Well, fortunately, we are done with it because the question has been answered. But I will state, in general, I would appreciate if you don't try to redirect if I'm seeking information. Talk to me afterward, let me know that maybe you didn't think that was appropriate, but don't shut down a conversation that I'm trying to have. But thank you for your answer, definitely. And just in general, how that came up, my question wasn't directly related to these particular things. When I saw them, my mind maybe began to wander, and maybe the Mel Gibson got the best of me. So I do apologize, Mr. LeGrand, but I guess we'll move forward more appropriately later. Thank you.
If there are no further questions, I think we can call the
Mr. Baker.
Yes.
Mr. LeGrand.
Yes.
Mr. Matthias.
Yes.
Mr. Moody.
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor.
Yes.
Ms. Randalls.
Yep.
Mr. Ross, yes. Ms. Slade.
Yes.
President Falk.
yes.
Passes 9-0.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda. Do I have a motion for approval of the consent agenda?
So moved.
Support?
Support.
When you are ready, Mr. Ross, you can call the vote.
Mr. Baker.
Yes.
Mr. LeGrand.
Yes.
Mr. Matthias.
Yes.
Mr. Moody.
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor.
Yes.
Ms. Randalls.
Yes.
Mr. Ross, yes. Ms. Slade.
Yes.
President Falk.
Yes.
Thank you.
We have no discussion items. Public comment. We have one card here.
Two.
Two cards.
Louise Wilson and Ann Swisher.
I'm Louise Wilson. I'm a teacher at in Grand Rapids Public Schools. And I have to say that this weekend, there were people who worked Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday to finish work at my school, including the principal, and I'm sure he's exhausted. I'm not complaining about the principal. Teachers did not have access to their rooms for the contractual 10 days before the start of school. So if rooms were a little ragged, we the teachers, apologized to students. I know we were not the only school. I've been a project manager in real life before I was a teacher, so I know how to plan backwards from a given date. So to assist, next year students will start school on Tuesday, the 2nd of September, and teachers are contractually to be able to access their rooms for planning by August 14th. I know that people think this was the big transformation year, but this happens every year in Grand Rapids Public Schools. If you have 10 weeks to work on a project and you routinely run 2 weeks over, you need to rethink your project management style. Also, if you've never bought a new computer and tried to install a new computer system, trust me, don't leave it until the hour before everybody goes home, because it's not going to be working. We started this year with several classes of more than 40 students. The district acknowledged 2 weeks ago that 29 students is the optimum maximum to have in the classroom, and that only 12 in a room covers the cost of a high school teacher. It's not difficult to program the computer to put a maximum cap of 29 students in each class. There was a big discussion 2 weeks ago when the board agreed to recall teachers because of anticipated student numbers, so we didn't have to start school with these cramped rooms of students. And I wonder when this will ever happen. Haven't seen it in 12 years. I have classes where half my students are not accessible to me on the class list because they've been listed under a special education teacher. This also has happened every year for the last 6 years, and every year we're told it's a mistake. I know that none of this is the fault of the principal. I know that it's the same people in services and facilities positions year after year who aren't changing, who aren't learning, who aren't improving. Every year I take professional development courses on my own time to try and improve as a teacher. I hope for improvement in the management of GRPS. Every year I'm disappointed to see the same results. Thank you.
And Swisher.
Good Good evening.
My name is Ann Swisher. I was a paraprofessional for 8.5 years for the Ken O'Shea preschool program. I was a child care worker for the autism program for 4 years. Last year, I was at Kent Vocational Options, and this year, we are at Kent Transition Center at Mayfield. I was on the governing board of the Paraprofessional Association, and I was a board member for Grayson for 2 years. As a member of the Grayson board, I attended 2 NEA, National Education Association conventions in Washington, D.C. and Atlanta, Georgia. Currently, I am not on the Grayson board, so I am only speaking for myself. I want to be clear on that. I find that Governor Snyder and the state legislature have usurped the desires of the majority of Michigan voters by creating roadblocks to inhibit our rights as teachers and support staff to create and maintain union representation. I don't believe the governor or state legislature is finished mucking with the schools until they have completely dismantled teachers and support staff unions and school districts throughout Michigan. Governor Snyder doesn't leave the school administration alone when he takes over schools. We are in this together, the parents, the staff, and all of you. Students are not failing because of the teachers and support staff. Schools are failing because the schools are becoming financial disasters. Governor Snyder has spent less money on schools every year he has been in office. He wants the money to serve his business agenda. That's not a secret. Everybody knows that. I believe that in Michigan, our administrators and educators are not leading the direction of education. Data-driven businessmen are, and our children are suffering for it. We have never had so many children left behind like today with school choice. Families' resources are stretched. Many families don't have options other families have to send their kids to private schools or to charter schools that don't perform better than public schools with the same resources. The Grayson Union contract expired on August 31st. I'm asking that the Board of Education and the administration support our union and come to the table and negotiate. Grayson Union members who are child care workers, non-cert teachers, employment training specialists, nurses, and CODAs work with special education students. Because of funding cuts, our services to our students have become limited, but because of our dedicated teachers and support staff, they do continue to learn. I want everyone here to understand that I believe that the Board of Education, the administration, that all the employees, and especially the parents, we are a team. And that means we need to support each other. And that means talk to the Grayson Union, negotiate, bargain. Let's make a deal. I don't know what the other unions are doing, parapros, but please come talk to the Grayson people. We want to negotiate. We want to feel like we are a part of the team, because we don't. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Superintendent.
You know, I was not going to bring this up, but I am going to respond. One, we never had any intentions, ever, of only scheduling 29 students in the classroom. That's one. The second is, the board did approve for me to hire an extra 24 teachers, and I appreciate that. But in the last 30 days, including today, I've had teachers resign, retire, and leave the district. And I was going to not say one word about this, but I believe in the best interest of this district and these children, we should have been informed of this prior to today. It is very difficult to schedule children in classes and to try to keep the numbers down when in fact we have numbers like this, so.
Thank you. Board members' comments. Pastor Moody.
I want to give Union High School kudos. I attended Union High School in the early 70s. I wore a football jersey that said Union Redhawks on it, number 73. And it's always good to hear that a school is doing something, or a community person is coming out to give some kudos to that school. It was a school in the 70s and that went through a whole lot of racial bigotry. and it's doing great now. We've overcome a lot. Then I want to talk about teamwork. Young lady a few moments ago talked about being a team, and in order for everybody to be a team, everybody got to come on one accord. If you have someone on the team who has a different agenda, then how can you have a team? I think that we have a good district, and I think we've done everything we are supposed to do to make sure that we work with teachers. Kids are the primary focus, but we also don't want to lose our teachers either, because our teachers are our greatest assets. But somewhere along the line, there is a hidden agenda, and we have to find it and put a stop to it so that we can become a team.
Dr. Baker?
Yeah, it's great to be underway this school year, and it's great to hear good news about the start of the school year. And I talked to my kids, and they were very pleased to be back in school today. So, and they wore their new clothes. So, or one of them did. So.
Yeah.
Next week, we will be having, we're returning to next Tuesday at 4 o'clock. We'll return to our Academic Achievement Committee meetings. So hopefully people who want to have influence or at least knowledge of what's happening with education in the district. We are going to focus, among other reports, hearing more about the MME scores and, of course, that and how that impact Union. And so it's, again, very exciting to hear about what happened at Union and all the people that got on deck this summer to support, this last year and a half to support that improvement. So very impressed. Thanks a lot.
Mr. Ross?
I guess just the same sort of kudos, really, the celebrations. It was really good the first day to hear about so many different levels of effort. The community effort with the Stuff the Bus piece, obviously the school-wide effort at Union, and individual efforts like Mr. Hambrick, and just that multi-layered effort in general. I just really want to point out, and it feels good to start the district feeling good. Of course, nothing is perfect. Don't know if anything ever will be, but really a great start, and just hope that everyone remains optimistic and moves forward collectively.
Reverend Matias?
Wow. School started. I had to get two kids ready for school that they sort of wanted to go but didn't. They had a really good day. I happened to work for KSSN at one of our schools, and it was really exciting to see, as some said, the school uniforms. Our kids looked absolutely gorgeous. Just in terms of them being at a place that was ready for them to learn. We had it seemed like a lot of new faces registering at our school, so we had to do a lot of just jumping in as a team and helping out where we can. My job description isn't necessarily those things, but because I'm there and it's needed, I'm willing to help. And I see a lot of not just staff, but I see a lot of parents willing to help take new parents to a classroom, for example, show a child something. One of the teachers, for example, asked me, Mr. Matias, can you help a child understand how we go into the bathrooms and what we do there? That's just something that happens, certainly as staff, and regardless of what level you are, you jump in and help. And because of that, I think it helps that transition, and people know that you're part of that. I do hope as a new board member I continue to understand some of the dynamics that go on both, among teachers and staff, and also, certainly as a board and administration and cabinet. And from what I know of my colleagues, I know that we are committed to our children, and certainly to our staff, and certainly to seeing this district continue to be successful. So it's really exciting to see school starting again, and then to see it off to a really good start, at least in our school.
Since it's time for editorial comment, the only thing I'll say is, and I keep saying this in public context, I think that the criteria for failure as the bottom 5% is an incredibly bad metric. the NBA has a bottom 5%, and they all know how to dribble a basketball. I think that we have to, as a board, be committed to looking for improvements and improvements that we can quantify and measure in every aspect of what we do. But getting back to what Pastor Moody said, we're a team, and we're fundamentally, at the end of the day, we're a team with schools in Detroit. We're a team with schools in Flint. And I don't want to have a day when we're hoping that our school edges out some other school so that they're in the bottom 5% and we're not. I want kids across the state to succeed, and if they do, there's still going to be a bottom 5% of that pool. Because there's a bottom 5% of Harvard Medical School, there's a bottom 5% of the NBA. I think our goal has to be excellence, not beating somebody else out so that we're not in the bottom 5%. I want every kid in Michigan to succeed, and so I think it's a terrible metric. I'm glad Union's out of the bottom 5%, but I'm not glad that that standard exists.
Dr. Randalls.
Welcome back.
Mr. O'Connor, Ms. Lay.
I just wanted to thank all of you who worked very hard this summer and today, and it was nice to wake up and be home when you were on TV. As a longtime educator, I didn't have to be at school. Right. So congratulations to all of you. Thank you for all your work. Appreciate it.
Same here. I've got the back-to-school buzz, and my kids were thrilled. But I, as a board member, as a community member, I have such gratitude for the hard work that has occurred to make today happen, and especially as a parent. So congratulations to everybody who has worked hard for an excellent first day of school.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you all.
Meeting adjourned.